What's up, everyone? Welcome down to the vault. And as Walter and I like to do all the time, we like to take your comments and I answer them and talk about them. And
viewer comments 3.
This is the third time. We're going to keep doing this segment, and keep, because we want to hear what you guys think. Although I want you guys to know, between Wayne, our producer, myself, and Walter, we do see everything you guys write. But I've
read every comment.
Talk about it right here because I personally don't really answer back to a lot of them. In fact, I really don't at all. I wait for this segment to do that.
And this is your chance.
Exactly. So if you have something worth here that's interesting enough, we'll talk about it.
On this, you got to ask something that's a question because we get a lot of the same type of comments on certain episodes.
Yeah.
And we can't read all those.
Right.
So we want something interesting, and we want some questions that you want Zetro to answer because he's the man. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to kick it off. This is a good one. Okay. From the last time we did viewer comments, the next episode was Creature Feature. And it is from Earn and Dape 1. And he wrote, you guys should do something involving your favorites off the Grindhouse video Nasty's list. What do you know about that, Steve?
Well, I mean, I would. And we're going to try to start doing different types of, going back in the catalog on that. I do love the Grindhouse stuff. Believe me, it's some of the best raw and really, violent right. and sexual and whatever. It's great. So that, we will.
And those are like cult movies too, right?
Definitely. So. Yeah. We've talked about that.
All right. Anthony Rivers. Zet, have you ever seen the movie Burnt Offerings with Bette Davis, filmed in Oakland? The house is still there. I went to it in 2010.
Okay, well, the Dunsmuir house in Oakland is the house that you went to. And if you don't remember, back when I was in a band called Legacy, there was a song called Burnt Offerings, Summoned to a House of Seance. Remember that? That was because of that movie with Oliver Reed and Bette Davis in that movie, and Karen Black. Yes, I know, 1976. Burnt Offering, very scary. At the end, when Karen Black turns, coming, we want you to, Benjamin. Yeah, amazing movie. Yep, one of
Good
my
question,
favorites.
Anthony.
Good job.
All right, Jamie Hicks, too. I remember seeing the first Chainsaw Massacre. Scared the living shit out of me. Still my fave movie besides The Devil's Rejects.
I think both of them are very similar. To me, that's a very horrific thing.
How about for the time, though? Wasn't that the late 70s, mid 70s?
Think about, 74.
Okay, so
think about the premise of this. Okay, you end up at this house of human beings, and they want to cut you up because they're going to eat you. I mean, cannibalism. I mean, we had a whole record.
Very
pleasures of the flesh. So it's to me, that's always been. I think to any. One, it's a very fascinating subject, don't you think, Walt?
And scary. And, this is back, it was very raw and very shocking back in 1974.
Yeah, sure.
Well, as a kid, right? We saw that.
Previously year, you had The Exorcist previously, so it was like, what could one up this? Obviously, the cinematography and production wasn't what The Exorcist was, but, man, talk about a movie that's resonated the same way through horror fans, and, I mean...
Another good one. Spooky Boo's Scary Story Time.
I love Spooky Boo.
Here she goes. My brother used to sneak up on me with me and watch Creature Features. Life wouldn't have been the same without Bob Wilkins and John Stanley. And I love the new one, too. You've got to get Vincent for an interview in the vault.
We've talked to Vincent about that, of course. And I love that I hear your... commercial every time on the show because they run one. Spooky Boo does. She has her own story time where she can play your phone and she tells you a scary story like to go to bed with or something. It's kind of cool. So yes, I will get Vincent on, and I do love it. And I play total. Yeah, well, I just filmed the show, so it'll be on.
Your second one?
My second one. 5 weeks from whenever I filmed it.
That's so cool. All right. And for our next episode with Doug Pearcy, we're going to go another question by Anthony Rivers. He's got a couple good questions, that's for sure. Zetro, I've always been curious about your cultural background. I was hoping at some point you could address that. That's a good question, too.
Well, actually, I'm a Portuguese immigrant. Well, I'm not. My grandfather was. Both of my grandparents, one was from Barcelona, Spain, one was from Portugal. And my father's parents were both Portuguese, but my mother's parents, one was Spanish and one was Portuguese, which makes me 3/4 Portuguese. But everybody out there, let me just tell you, I'm an American. I'm proud to be an American. I was born in this country. I really don't speak any other. I can speak a little Spanish. I only speak a couple of words in Portuguese. I'm an American, bro.
You like the soccer team?
No, actually,
No?
I don't pay attention to that.
Okay, just check.
Although I know Ronaldo is, and they've won.
All right.
And when I watch it, I guess I root for them. But you know what I mean? They are pretty good.
Yeah, when I was at Porto in Portugal and we were going to play there that night, I was with Testament. They actually had the soccer World Cup games going on. And the towns across the river, you've been to that one. You know, it's the stone building.
Yes.
That's so cool. I don't know the name of it. It's
Yeah,
so
we
cool.
play there. We play there too. Yeah.
I've been there a couple times.
Yeah.
But they scored a goal, and you could hear the town from across the river just erupt.
Yeah, they live for that. That's their lives, man. Amazing.
Good. All right, and this was also in that episode with Doug Pearcy, and Minotaur official addressed the Chuck Billy microphone. That's amazing. Never heard anyone call it that before. Great description. I can think of 3 rockers who rock that style of mic. Freddie Mercury, Chuck Billy, and the King with the bone cross. Anyone else?
Joey Belladonna.
Okay.
That's where he got it from. Joe Chuck went out with Anthrax when they first went out with the Legacy came out, and he saw that Joey uses the half stick.
I think he played Monsters of Rock was the first huge gig, and I think maybe they were on that bill or
maybe, but they had the
during spreading the disease
stick. Yeah, right, spreading the disease. They had the stick, and then he saw that, and now Joey's doesn't light up, but Chuck's does.
Yeah, Chuck's is now super cool. I mean, I got a funny story about that too. One time when he was in Fresno, there was a kid trying to untie his shoelaces while he was singing, and some of these fans in the front, they can get a little. That's a little too much. He didn't like it. He warned the kid, looked at him dirty a couple times, but at the end of one of the songs, he brought that mic right down on his head. And I think there were some repercussions of that, but that's.
Just ask Randy Bly.
That's right.
Got to be careful.
All right. From NJ772, Zetro, do you play any instrument? Do you have any input on the music, or is it divided and you care more about vocal melodies, lyrics, and so on?
I do play a little guitar. I do play a little bass and drums. Enough if I had to get behind and jam with somebody, I could.
Hits the chords,
but I don't exactly. I play a little lead too, but I don't. I don't add in with anything. I do focus mostly on the vocal melodies and that sort of thing, and how I'm going to approach it. Because again, when it comes down to it, that's what I'm doing on the record. So I don't try to pollute myself, and I never have with any other aspect of what's going on in the business. And believe me, come on, I play with the best in the world. Why would I worry about what Gary Holt's doing, or Rick Hudel, or Lee, or Alex Skolnick, or Eric, or Tom Hunting, or Jack Gibson? Those guys are all stellar players and stellar musicians that know exactly their craft and know exactly what they're doing. So that, to be honest with you, makes it easier for me to just concentrate on the vocals and how I'm going to approach it vocally.
Much like Chuck too. He plays a little guitar. If you don't know, I think you guys played guitar earlier.
Yes, we did.
We
both had guitar class together in high school.
You see?
So me and Chuck and his brother Andy were all in the same guitar class.
All right. Another big fan of ours is Metal Dams 782. Zetro, I got a random question. Please tell us your first remember experiences of both Exodus and Metallica. Did you hear the demos first or see them live first? And what was your impression?
Saw them both live first. I saw Metallica at Metal Monday, and then I saw Exodus about 2 months later at, I don't think it was Ruthie's, but it was somewhere in Berkeley. And it was at that time, it was the most violent show I'd ever seen before, the Exodus show. Not necessarily. The Metallica show was on, and it was packed because, everybody was going to the old Waldorf back in the day. And you
got to remember, Metallica wasn't anybody back then at that time.
And Exodus was just so, over the top brutal, you know what I mean? So,
you saw the birth of thrash, much like I did.
Oh, yes.
And then that influenced you.
Yeah.
And
look
at
the thing is with Legacy, we modeled Legacy more after Exodus, but with Metallica in, all of that in there. There was no Megadeth yet. Slayer was just we were just heard about them from LA, so it was more of the Bay Area bands. But I'd have to give Legacy's, hat when, Derek and Eric and I were really kind of molding what that first inception was. I'd have to give it more to Exodus and Metallica at that point. But I mean, then punk music.
That's
as
where
well,
I saw
and
Metallica's
hardcore and as
Metal
well,
Mondays at the old Waldorf
exactly.
first, and
Yep.
But I'll say it, when I saw Exodus, that was as heavy as you could get.
That's my point.
It was
Truly
an
brutal.
experience, always. All right, and from the Toxic Vault 100th episode, we have Celeste Altos. Zet, you and Walter are killing on this channel. I'd like a tour of horror collections behind you, field trips in the Bay Area. How about a fan contest where fans get to go to the movies with you and Walter? P.S.
Wow.
You need someone to guide you to better movies.
Wow.
Keep up the great work. The trivia is hilarious.
Okay, well, Celeste Altos is Lee Altos's wife, who is like probably my biggest fan. And I just recently went and filmed another episode of Creature Features, and she is a huge fan of Creature Features. And her and Miss Vicky, my significant other, she came with us up there to the set, to the Polter Mansion up in Bodega Bay, and we brought her up the hill, and she got to go and hang out with
cool.
Livingston and Tangela and Vincent, and she had quite a good time. And so that is a great idea. Go to a horror movie with
us.
Wall. That's awesome. Our producer is listening, Celeste. So
Yeah, that's a good idea.
comment.
I love it.
Good comment. God, you're just our number one fan.
She always comments.
I know. She's awesome.
I can't help but reading some of them.
I know.
They're good. Paul Newton, too. Great job, guys. We love the show. Watching every episode daily. Cool. It would be cool to take some phone calls at least once a week to give a chance for fans questions and answers.
The way that the show's produced, that would probably not be possible. Unfortunately, this is taped, and we have to, it's got to be edited, and sound's got to be right. So it's not. I know it looks like it's live, but it's not live, and so there's a lot of work that goes into the post production after Walter and I are done. So we're trying to figure out, like, maybe one day we'll say we're gonna do like Facebook Live or something like that, and we'll do an episode live.
And we've talked about having a small audience here too, right?
We've talked about having a little bit of an audience here.
Things could morph in time. We never know.
But we're just going for it. We think the meat and the potatoes of all what you guys love is basically the interviews of all the Bay Area musicians that have made this area what it is. So we're trying to give
the show.
Yeah, that's true.
What it is too.
So we're going to give you everything. We're going to give. You're still going to be the toy guys, the cake guys, the soap people. There, we're going to get all that kind of stuff in here as well because it's fun.
All right,
I like to have fun.
This is a fun show. That's what it's about.
It's fun.
All right, Paul Holt 2. I want to know your first contact with Gary Holt. Congrats on the 100th episode.
My first contact with Gary Holt would have been at Ruthie's Inn. It was probably it was around or after the first one or two Legacy shows, and I knew who he was, but every time I see him, I'd be like, "Hey, Gary, what's up?" "Hey, man, what's up?" But then Legacy was getting a little bit of
a buzz
feed on them, so then there was a little bit more attention paid on to us, and then I actually got to I hung out with him, him and Rick one night, and we were having some fun. I won't get into it any more than that. I don't have to say any more than that. And we had some fun, and it was cool. And I that was before. I mean, maybe 2.5 years before I was given the call. Maybe even longer than that, 3. I don't know.
Yeah, before Bonded by Blood.
Oh yes, it was before that was out. Mm-hmm, definitely.
Cool. Okay, another big fan and who posts a lot. Dagobah System.
Yes, he does.
19892. Definitely more toxic trivia. So, let's see. What else? I think you should do an episode where you do close-up shots of your toys and maybe where and how you got them.
Okay. Thank you, Dagobah 2, because I've said that to our producer a million times because I'm very proud of my fucking toys, and I like the way they look, and they're so cool. And like I said,
and you rotate them. These aren't all your toys. Yes, I do.
But I mean, lately, like I just got that new one from the guys at Court of the Dead, and go check out their toys. Court of the Dead. It's so sick. And I love them all.
And inside your house, you have a bunch more, and you rotate them in and out.
And they rotate in and out. Yes, I'm very proud of them. I'm never going to grow up. I love them. And Dagobah System, thanks for commenting and being such a great fan.
All right. And Anthony Ray 2, you need a fan mail P.O. box. I have a figurine for your wall.
There you go, Wayne. Are you listening to this? Our producer's sitting with his headphones on right now, shaking like okay, I got it.
All right.
That's me. You're right. I don't know everything. So, you like that? It's my way to get back at you for that fucking cord incident this morning.
Here's someone I know, Mike and Sherry Price. Great channel, guys.
Thanks.
Zet, I'd like to hear how you got involved with Tenet, and it's such a ferocious album.
Actually, because I'm friends with Glenn Alvarez, he got a hold of me first only because the brainchild of Tenet was Jed Simon from Strapping Young Lad. And those songs meant a lot to Jed. The band did. We've actually talked about trying to do that again just for another record. And Jed told Glenn to give me a call. Jed actually did the vocals himself. And Century Media was like, maybe you should get a singer. So I was barely doing Dublin Death Patrol. I wasn't in Exodus at this point, and I got asked to do it. And I heard the songs, and I was like, wow, this is
was that
ferocious.
Soundwave that you did some of the practice for it down there? Wasn't Soundwave? Because I remember meeting him with you when he was here. Because he came out. He lives back Midwest.
He lives in Philadelphia, actually. Yeah, he lives in Philly. Yeah, no, he was just out. And I actually went
carousing.
I recorded the vocals. It was like, a couple days, and I took care of business. And
did you write all that too?
I wrote none of it. None? That was very personal lyrics to Jed himself, and you
just put your touches on it.
Yep.
All right, and here we go. This is from the Danny Shipman Toxic Trivia. Another one from Miss Altos or Mrs. Altos. You're a fountain of knowledge that you should go on Jeopardy. A guy on there won $2.5 million this year. Maybe you could do that.
Well, Danny kicked my ass, so maybe Danny could do that. He's just a little strange looking. I don't know if what's his name, Alex Trebek will have him. Not saying I'm not strange looking, but I thanks Celeste because I am. I do know my crap about this.
And in that same line, Vinny Rogers, will Danny be back for a rematch?
I think I'm going to have him back in here for a rematch.
I'd like that.
Because he's good. But I may have to fix the questions next time because he ain't winning twice in a row. Danny's good. I'll tell you why Danny's good. Danny has his head in every piece of pop culture like I do, but much deeper. I mean, the show that he's done with Reality Check is 27 years long. He's interviewed. He knows shit about actresses and movies that I didn't even fucking know. So, I mean, he's probably, that's why it is what it is. I'm pretty good, but I'm not the best.
All right. Same vein, but when you played me on Toxic Trivia, Troy Cleek 2 wants to know, I'm not surprised that so. Did you see Cheech beat everybody's ass on Celebrity Jeopardy? People were stunned. So much for burning up brain cells.
Well, you know what? With all due respect to that, I've been smoking. Everybody knows I'm very pro weed. I've been smoking weed since 1976 continuously. So, his mother was a high school teacher. Cheech is a very intelligent man.
I'm sure all these great talents are right there.
Very
they
intelligent.
Have that genius thing, that genius quality.
Yep.
And we got Metal Dam 782. You guys are like Abbott and Costello. Well, sometimes.
You know what? There has to be some fun
when you're not
here.
Yelling at me.
You don't understand. I go back with him 35 years. So, you probably weren't even born yet. So, and I mean, not intimately. This guy's been on tour with me. He knew my ex-wife. He's seen my children grow.
I gave Cody a bottle on my lap.
See that? So he's been around. And Cody is now 29 years old. So there's so much that goes. It's like this guy doesn't just sit on the other side of the table.
We have a good rapport.
He belongs on that side of the table.
Didn't you tell me you woke up and said, "Hey, I need a guest host, someone to play off of," and that you woke up and thought of me?
Yeah, that sounds like Walter's perfect. I'll call him tomorrow. That's perfect.
Well, thank you. That was a great phone call. You called me that morning. I was
Well,
because I really liked the show.
Look,
it was like a week the show was.
Yeah,
going.
right. Look. Yeah, because I just caught in. It's better that way.
Yeah.
So
And
now
I bought in all the way. I love this show.
It's fun.
All right.